back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 6 different ways that you can use concealer and how you can get this look. Today this is the look that I done and I'm really happy with it. Obviously cut crease is in there, a little bit of contour is in there, highlighting is in there. I'm going to be showing you a couple of I'm going to be showing you a couple of tricks and tips and tricks. So if you want to know a few things that you can do to apply to your foundation, concealer, makeup routine, then let's go, honey. As you can see, I've already started off with my foundation base, and at the moment I'm just pointing out a couple of spots that I'm going to try to attempt to cover up with a concealer technique that I'm going to show you guys right now. So I'm just going to be taking the Australis Banana Powder and the Faux Filter Foundation by Huda Beauty, and I'm going to be mixing them together just on the back of my hand. And this technique is actually something that I saw from Huda Beauty. She done this on one of her Instagram posts, and I thought, hey, that's a good idea, like maybe I'll try it out. And yes, I'm just going to ignore the fact that I just spilt that powder everywhere. So I'm just going to take a cotton tip and use that as an applicator for the foundation and powder mix. And I'm just applying a little bit to my face, and then I'm going to blend it out with a concealer brush. So this is a concealer brush by Real Techniques, and it's basically just a fluffy brush, so you can take any fluffy brush and do this as well. But I'm just going to blend it out and make sure that it's all blended into the foundation that I'm wearing. So for tip number 2, I'm going to be showing you guys how to highlight and conceal using the Maybelline Fit Me concealers. One of them is a shade or 2 lighter than my actual foundation, and the next one is a shade or 2 darker. And the thing that I love about these concealers is that they actually don't sink into the fine lines and wrinkles in your under eyes, especially if you set it with a powder. So what I'm doing here is just applying the lighter shade of foundation in the highlight areas, so just on the bridge of your nose, under your eyes, and I generally tend to do that triangle shape that you always see on YouTube videos and Instagram posts. I also take a little bit just on my cupid's bow and chin as well. And with the contour shade, I'm going to draw a line just underneath my cheekbone and take it from the ear almost down to the corner of my mouth, and then obviously creating that snatched forehead, just bringing it down along the hairline and then around the outside of my face down to my jawline. And using this oval concealer brush, I'm really just trying to show you guys different ways that you can apply your concealer. This brush is really good for sculpting or getting into smaller spaces like underneath your eyes or just along the highlight area for your nose. But I will say that this was a little bit of an awkward brush to use, specifically because of the handle. Like just the general shape of it, it came out really far, and then it just felt really awkward to hold the brush so far away from my face. But I know the oval brushes are definitely like some of my favorites. It's just this particular brush that I didn't really enjoy using. Now I'm taking the mini beauty blenders and I'm just using them basically as another way to show you guys how you can apply your concealer. But obviously I forgot my nose contour, so I'm just going to do that right now and, you know, create that snatched nose look, honey. But these I really love because they get into the smaller areas. Like when you're using a bigger beauty blender, it's hard to keep your nose contour and highlight in the right places. So when you're using a beauty blender, make sure that it's always damp. Put it under a tap of water, really soak it, and then squeeze all of the excess water out. That's going to allow you to apply your foundation or concealers, whatever you're going to use with your beauty blender, the absolute best. Now I'm all done with one side of my face. I'm going to show you guys another concealing technique. This is using a color correcting pen. So for this particular shade of red, I'm going to be using it to cancel out any darkness underneath my eyes, around my nose, or around my mouth. That's generally where I get, you know, my discoloration. And the reason that I'm using a red color is because I have a little bit of a darker skin tone. If you have a lighter skin tone or if you're quite fair, make sure that you go for something that's a little bit pinker or more peach. So I'm using the Maybelline Color Blur Matte Pencil Lipstick. And on the opposite end of this product there is a smudger, and I'm going to use that just to blend in the red color because I don't want that red mixing in with the concealer when I apply the concealer over the top. So the concealer that I'm going to be using is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is the concealer that everybody raves about and everybody has talked about on YouTube for so long. It has really good coverage. It doesn't sink into the fine lines and wrinkles, especially if you apply the powder over the top. And the thing is that if you get a really bad concealer, what it can do is actually make your makeup look 10 times worse. Like, it will bring out all of the pores that you're trying to hide. It'll bring out the creases underneath your eyes. It'll cling to your dry patches. It'll make your skin look oilier than it is. And, you know, you just really want to make sure that you invest in a good quality concealer so that you don't have the issues that you really don't want to have. So now I'm just going to set my face with the same banana powder that I showed you guys earlier by Australis, and I'm just creating a nice little contour line, just defining that a little bit, and then going ahead and setting my face with the mini beauty blenders. So I feel like setting your face is such an important step, especially underneath your eyes and in any areas that you kind of want to highlight as well. But this helps to keep your concealer from creasing or moving throughout the day as well. It just helps it to last longer. So for me, this is definitely something that I would recommend doing. So for technique number 4, I'm going to be taking the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre, and just using a small flat brush, I'm going to be taking a little bit of that product and then placing it just underneath the brow to kind of carve out the general shape that you want for your brow. Why can't I say that word? And I feel like this is such a good technique if you've just made a hell of a mess with your eyebrows and you just really need to clean them up. Because sometimes, you know, your eyebrows, they just don't work with you. Sometimes one eyebrow's thicker than the other, and then you have to try and even them out. And then they look crazy because they're huge. Like, just trust in this technique. It works. It will help you so much. Okay, so on to technique number 5. I'm just going to be taking my ring finger and dipping it into the MAC Paint Pot, and then I'm going to be taking that product all over my eye and just using this as a base for the eyeshadow that I'm going to be placing over the top. And the reason why I do this is because it just helps to bring out the colors of the eyeshadow, and it also helps them last all day long. So onto the look that I'm going to be doing for my eyes. I'm just taking the MAC eyeshadow in Burnt Orange and then placing that on the top of my crease and then blending that upwards into my brow bone. So I'm being really careful not to go too high up because I want to make sure that there's still a little bit of space between my eyeshadow and my brows. So I'm just taking the V1 Mattes palette by Sleek, and then I'm going to be using the yellow, the pink, and then also I might dip into the white as well later on. So I'm just blending out that orange color with the yellow shade. And then I'm using that pink color on the outer corner of my eye. So just on the outer third, just to make sure that there is a little bit of dimension. And for the last concealer technique, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a cut crease. So this is definitely something that you really need a steady hand for, especially if you want both sides to match. But it is a really fun technique once you get used to it, and the results look amazing. So what you're going to do is create the shape of a semicircle, and going from the inner corner of your eye, you're just going to create that shape all the way to about the outer third. So taking that pink shadow that we used earlier, I'm just going to make it look a little bit more finished by blending that shadow into the concealer. And I'm just creating a slight diagonal line from the outer third into the halfway point of my eye. And I'm just taking the purple shade to create a little bit more depth on the outer corner of my eye. And the last shadow I'm going to use is this white, and I'm just going to place it over the rest of the concealer. And to finish off the look, I'm just going to blend those two shades together. Now I'm just going to do the rest of my face off camera.
So guys, I went ahead and I finished the look off camera, and this is what it is at the moment. I live for a cut crease, honestly. The skin, the concealer, it's everything. This lip. I love the way that my makeup turned out today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial or tips and tricks. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video because this video is done.